Hello everyone, my name is Joyce Marie B. Flores from AMH22 and I'm the first reporter and I'll be discussing the determinants of morality and the first determinants of morality which is the end of the act. Hello everyone, we are the group 5 and in this video we are going to report the determinants of morality. The determinants of morality. They are called determinants of morality because they are the basis or the measurement for judging whether an act is good or evil, moral or immoral. Determinants. From the word determinants, meaning it is the factors that shape the ethical standards and behavior of people. In a very simple explanation, it measures the human action if it is good or bad. Next, the determinants of morality consist in the non-conformity and conformity of an act with the norm. Conformity. It is the process whereby people change their beliefs, attitudes, actions, or perceptions to more closely match those held by groups to which they belong or want to belong, which approval toward their desire. For example, your friends are studious but you're not, so in order to fit in, you try to study. For the nonconformity, it is about when a person behaves in a way goes against the standard of a society. For example, you're new in the barangay and you are informed that there will be a fines to those people who throw trashes anywhere. But you still play innocent and don't want to give fines to the government or to them. In this act, you goes against the rules or the obligations as a people living in the barangay. There are three determinants of morality. First is the end of the act, second is the end of the doer, and lastly is the circumstances of the act. Always remember that in every action there's always a purpose, but it's up to you if it's natural, with or without motives, or even if it's a personal intention. Examples of end of the act. In the first picture, you can see that a girl is studying. What do you think is the natural purpose of studying? Yes, it is learning. When you study or go to school, it is automatic that you went to learn. So, learning is the original or the natural purpose. Next picture, you can see that a person is eating. The natural purpose of eating is to become full. You eat because you're hungry, and after you eat, you become full. So, all of these acts are done naturally.
Hello everyone, I am Reynor Salsaranza, the second reporter from Group 5, Determinants of Morality. So let's proceed to the second determinant of morality, which is the end of the doer. It is a personal purpose intended by the person performing the act. It refers to the intention or the motive of the doer. An act good in itself may be spoiled by a bad intention. When we say the end of the doer, the motives of the agent varies with different individuals, so there are different intentions with different people. So we have here an example. The example is the natural purpose of going to school is to learn and study. Yet some students go to school only to be with friends. Some only go to school to satisfy the wish of their parents. And some go to school only to engage in athletics or extracurricular activities. So we also hear another example, which is running. For this boy, the purpose is to finish an errand, and for this guy, his purpose is for fun. And for the third one, this girl, her purpose is to exercise. See, there is different motives between people. So the third determinant of morality is the circumstances of the act, which means may increase or decrease the gravity of an offense. They may justify an act or even exempt the agent from criminal responsibility, liability, or punishment. Not considered part of the action, which means act per se can exist without the circumstances. So we have here an example, which is eating meat on Good Friday. The condition here is Good Friday, and the human act is eating meat. The condition, which is the Good Friday, is not part of action because eating meat can still exist even without the former. However, circumstances affect the morality of the act. So that's all for my part. Thank you.
Hi, this is Sofia Nuevas, and I will be discussing my part, which are the things that needs to be considered and the three of the five principles in the circumstances of the action. So first, let's start with the things that needs to be considered. First to consider is who. It refers to the person to whom the act is being ascribed. Second is what. What refers to the quality or quantity of the object of the act. Next to consider is when. When refers to the circumstances of the time. Next is how. How refers to the manner or mode of the act being performed. Next is the means or the by what means. It refers to the means being employed by the actor. Also to consider is where. It refers to the place where the act is being performed. And lastly to consider is the why. Why refers to the intention of the action. So those are the things that needs to be considered. Now to the principles. Paul Glenn 1968 wrote 5 principles involving the implications of the circumstances of the act. First principle. An indifferent act can become good or evil through circumstances, such as eating meat is neither good or bad. However, eating meat on Good Friday intentionally is evil. Second, a good act can become evil through circumstances, like giving money to poor people is good. However, giving money to poor people just to buy votes during the election is evil. Third principle. An intrinsically good act can become better or an intrinsically evil act can become worse through circumstances. For example, visiting a sick person to comfort him or her is a good action. However, not visiting a sick person out of hatred is worse.
Good day, everyone. And the next one is a good act done with evil means destroys the entire objective goodness of the act. Like giving food to the hungry is a good action. However, giving money to the hungry through robbery is evil. Norms of human act. When we say norms, they are basically the standard which tell the things which we can do and the things which we are prohibited by doing, and especially in the society. So the first one is law. It is basically an ordinance of reason promulgated for the common good by one who has change of a society, and that is according to St. Thomas Aquinas. So when we say ordinance of reason, there should be a valid reason behind every single law. For example, curfew in a buyog. The LGU has to regulate the mobility of people in a buyog so as to slow down also the transmission of the virus. So there is a valid reason, and it has to be promulgated for the common good, meaning to say it has to be well known to the public so that the public would also be aware of the prohibitions and restrictions, and it should be law so that the people will abide or follow. And every single law is made for the goodness of the majority. The second norms is conscience, is practical judgment of reason upon an individual act as good to be performed or as evil to be avoided. So when we say conscience, it is our innate capacity to judge our action if it is good or bad. So meaning to say, as humans, we are given the capacity to know already, even though we don't go to school yet, we don't learn at school yet, we already know the good things and the bad things which we should avoid. It is a practical judgment of reason because we know if that person is doing good or bad. And we have several types of conscience. The first one is correct or true conscience. It judges what's good as good and what's evil as evil. So meaning to say, this type of conscience is he or she has no fault in judgment because their judgment is very accurate and evident. The second one is false or erroneous conscience. It is incorrectly judges what's good as evil or vice versa. Like for example, a husband tells himself that having a mistress is right or correct because he is a macho or good looking. Okay, so that is a false conscience because we all know having a mistress is not a right thing to do, right? Okay, so people have their own belief without knowing that their belief is evil or sin, and that is a function of conscience. The third one is certain conscience. It implies certainty in one's decision. It is a type of conscience that he or she is completely sure in all things without any doubt if an action is resulted to be bad or good. The fourth one is doubt conscience. Uncertainty in decision making, meaning to say, in every decision you made, you always ask yourselves if this decision is right or wrong. So there is doubt. The fifth one is scrupulous conscience. It is meticulous because it is afraid of committing evil. So meaning to say, they are afraid of committing evil as much as possible. Their action should be right or correct. The last one is lax conscience. Rushes and is quick in justifying itself. Lax conscience is quite impulsive. It is when a person does not employ process if conscientious decision making. They are not the thing about the morality of action that he or she performs, or what is in his or her mind will automatically take an action without thinking about the process or without forethought. So thank you guys for listening, and that's all for our presentation.